personally for us, we were hit over the head. We were broken. And 3 years ago, we came out of a mega church, and we had gone every Sunday faithfully as a family, but we put our foot back right into the world as a family. Until I realized who Yeshua was and how he walked perfectly before his Father in obedience, showing me how to do it in love, just like you're saying, how he loved Israel, he loved his people, even the Pharisees and Sadducees. In your teaching on truth, he was hard. He said the only way to the Father is through me. I'm the way, the life, and the truth. The only way. And you're right. That's pretty harsh. But he wouldn't have told him if he hadn't have loved them so much. He did. He absolutely
did.
He
died to open the way to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to the Ruach Kadesh being inside us, that we die daily, that we slay our flesh, so that we can be more in a relationship with Yahweh. For you, when you came to this realization, the lights went off. How did you work towards this?
I'm a work in progress.
So am I.
I'm still doing it. You know, it's just a progress, and I have to tell you, a lot of the things that I'm sharing with you is only over the past year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe 5 years of my walk that this stuff has come into play. And it comes into play, because Torah observance really is going to open you up to being able to understand how to listen to the Spirit. Because something that people get confused is they say, well, there's the Word and there's the Spirit. Well, wait a minute. Everything that's written in the Word was given by the Spirit to the prophets. In fact, it was such a good word that the Spirit said, write this down. So if we say we listen to the Spirit, but we don't have the Word to check it, then we never get that maturity, because if every time we think, okay, God's speaking to us, we check it against the Word, oops, that wasn't God. But if we don't have that as a standard, we dismiss the whole written Word, as the church tends to do, as listening to the Spirit, then we never learn the difference. But if you use the Torah as a schoolmaster, one of the things that it will do is not just teach you how to be obedient, but it will teach you how to listen to the Spirit, because you'll be testing what the Spirit's telling you by the Spirit that's in you against the Word. And over time, you'll get to realize what is actually the Spirit of God, what is indigestion, what is the enemy, what are the voices in the media. And over time, you start connecting it and getting mature, actually being willing to benchmark yourself up against the written Word will actually teach you how to walk in the Spirit. How about that, folks? And that's, by the way, that's like a new revelation of like saying it like that of like a week or two ago. I'm giving you some really fresh stuff that's at least as far as my understanding. And so we have to just keep walking in this, trusting that God is in us completely and empowers us in everything, but being a Berean and checking things against the Word and using that as a standard and letting that transformation come, because it's about death. Anything that you're holding on to, anything that upsets you, anything that offends you, anything that gets you angry, sorry, not of God. It's just not, because it's you. And you want to call it righteous anger. Okay, check that. Check that, okay? Really, really, really. The only thing that really, Yeshua was on the cross, the execution stake, whatever you want to call it, and he came down here, he emptied himself. The very people he came to save beat him and crucified him, and he looked down and he said, forgive them, Father. They know that what they do. Folks, if you can't show that same level of love, then there's still something left in you that needs to die, because Yeshua said, Father, that this cup would not be mine to drink, but your will be done. And if we can do that, then now we're talking about walking in the Spirit. That's walking in the Spirit, is complete emptiness and submission to the Father. And if you're finding anything in you that doesn't do that, you're still a work in progress. Welcome to the club. The rest of the world doesn't care. The rest of the world doesn't care. So that Christian, that Catholic, dare I say that Mormon, and that Jehovah's Witness and all those other people who say Yeshua is the Messiah and are seeking to live in holiness, folks, be careful. Be careful about how you judge them. Is their theology off? Yes, and so is yours.
I think John's going to come up with a question, but it just came to mind while you were saying that there's three types of people in the world. There's the non-believers, that could care less of what I'm doing, or think I'm
Right.
in a cult. And then you got the guy or the lady who's thinking about watching us. They're continually watching us and what we're doing and how we're walking. And then you have the person that's got one foot in the door and one out, say the Christian. And it's a fine line, because all three of those people are watching us walk out and try to follow Yeshua in love. But at the same time, uh, he followed the feast. He obeyed his father. It's
Yeah.
obedience and disobedience. And
Right.
do we love God enough to obey him?
Exactly.
And do we love our neighbor enough to obey him so that they see that walk? Is that what I'm
Yeah,
trying to sum
yeah.
up?
The world is watching us to see how much we love each other more than anything else. That this actually goes into, and I really want to say before our hour is up, a real revelation of what I got about what ministry is. But before I do that,